The opinions and views expressed by individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of this network, their group, or other organization they may be involved with.
I'm looking at myself, reflections of my mind. It's just the kind of day to leave myself behind. So gently swaying through the fairyland of love. If you'll just come with me, you'll see the beauty of Tuesday evening news. Tuesday evening
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Psychedelic Reporter for this 17th Tuesday episode. Oh, fuck, I forgot to look at the number. Here on NOK New Network, the video news podcast. Focused on psychedelic medicine being reported in mainstream media. Shout out to the guys in Dead Ringer from our Kirkland Lake, Ontario, for the awesome intro track, originally recorded by the Moody Blues, with some customized changes for our show. I have joined by my amazing sub, Ron McNabb, filling in for Tara Simpson, along with the one and only Bufo Various, who has chosen all of our stories for us. Hello, Tara. Or, Ron.
I'm not Tara. I'm Ron. You can call me anything you want, though. Just don't call me late for dinner. That's the thing. No, I'm doing great. And we got Todd over here. Hello, and hello, Todd. Well, hello, hobbies. Hello, everyone. I'd like to introduce Bufo. He is the Sonoran desert toad, or also known as the Colorado toad. And did you know that he emits DMT from his skin? So, as we've reported in the past, park rangers would like to remind everyone to please don't lick the toad. So no licking toads, folks. No licking toads. Nope.
No licking toads. No matter how much they bought you dinner and like you.
Right. So how are you doing there, Todd?
Oh, we're having a great week for psychedelic. It was a slow week indeed, and it has been. And I don't know if it's because they got a lot of things going on right now, and they're waiting for the studies to calculate, and everybody's already held their hearings, so it's not like we can report on the hearings. No, they're just waiting for the paint to dry on the new facilities, and
Right.
So that part was rough for Bufos, and I were puffing together while he was going through all the stuff.
Right. So, and now, and now, for our top stories in psychedelic news, folks. Here we go.
Yeah, for our first story. Oh shit! Am I in the wrong one? Oh yeah, holy shit! I was gonna read the third story. All right. Our first story is safety protocols at psychedelic retreats are inconsistent, from psychiatryonline.org, and this is written by Terry De Arrigo.
Yeah, and research into the potential benefits of psychedelics has prompted a surge of public interest in their use, and along with it, a growing number of organizations that offer quote unquote psychedelic retreats. featuring the use of substances such as ayahuasca, psilocybin, and mescaline. Yet none of these psychedelics, which have been used by Native American and indigenous populations for centuries, is approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for any indication. That may leave health professionals who practice Western medicine wondering what safety measures are in place to protect people who participate in psychedelic retreats. The answer, according to a study, and there's a clickable link there for that study in JAMA Network Open, is that it largely depends on the organization. There's a quote here. We were interested in retreats because there has been such a proliferation of them, largely due to some of the enthusiasm and hype about psychedelics in the news media. And that was according to Amy L. McGuire, JD, PhD, Leon Jaworski, professor of biomedical ethics and director of the Center for Medical Ethics and Health Policy at Baylor College of Medicine, and lead author of the study. That's what she told Psychiatric News. After learning of the types of retreats that were popping up and some of the practices they were engaged in, we were worried that some of them might not be very safe. For example, in a previous study, and there's a clickable link there, in the PLOS One involving 298 organizations that hosted psychedelic retreats, McGuire and colleagues found that about a third of them offered more than one substance, with many of them offering multiple substances over the course of a single retreat. There hasn't been much research on polysubstance use involving psychedelics, and I'm not sure what the rationale is, other than let's just give people as big an experience as possible. But there may be other reasons that we need to understand better, McGuire said.
Right? Wide variability. Yeah, in the JAMA Network Open Study, McGuire and her colleagues interviewed representatives of 49 organizations across North and South America that hosted psychedelic retreats, including 30 that were based in the United States. All the organizations collected participant medical histories and offered some form of integration support to help other people make sense of their psychedelic experience, such as group sharing and one-on-one meetings. But that's where the similarities at. The investigators found a wide variability in screening practices, involvement of health professionals, and more. Among the findings, 53.1% of organizations hosting retreats excluded participants with a mental illness. 48% included participants with schizophrenia or psychosis, and 32% excluded participants with bipolar disorder. 42% worked with at least one licensed healthcare professional, and nurses, therapists, pharmacists, physicians, e.g., or I should have said e.g. first. 40.8% reported that a healthcare professional was present during at least part of the retreat. 40% that a healthcare was present during at least part of 67.3 mandated discontinuation of medications such as selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, monoamine oxidase inhibitors, lithium benzodiazepines, and 22.4% recommended but did not require discontinuation. Wow.
Right. And which means some of these numbers, like 40.8% reported that a healthcare professional was present. That means almost 60% there was a health professional not there.
Yeah.
Which is significant, right? It is significant.
Yeah.
Health professional involvement. The healthcare professionals involved with psychedelic retreats had a variety of roles, including advising on medication washout, screening for contraindications, or supporting participants during or after the retreat. Those who were present for at least part of the retreats were available for services such as dosing support, intake assessments, or emergency monitoring. And there's a quote here. We are stating, we look at that from a legal perspective, as there are a lot of questions that come up when licensed providers are practicing medicine in retreat settings, some of which are taking place in other countries, McGuire said. There are also legal issues that need to be worked out regarding scope of practice and potential liability related to the roles that these providers have. Among organizations without a health professional in attendance, 12 relied on emergency trained staff, such as emergency medical technicians or staff certified in cardiopulmonary resuscitation. In total, 65.3% had some trained personnel on site, at least occasionally.
Washout protocols. What the fuck is a washout? A washout timeline includes those for psychiatric meditations range from 1 day to more than 6 weeks. So you got to get off your psych meds. So while 63 of organizations encourage participants to consult a physician about tapering, only 14 reported consulting medical professionals for guidance on their washout protocols. So Mary Hasba Roselle, MD, a Navajo psychiatrist who practiced within an indigenous community, expressed concern over the washouts, particularly for psychiatric medicine. I would never enforce or expect that patients do a washout because it would be unsafe and lead to vulnerability for people with mental health issues, she said.
Wow. Potential for misappropriation. McGuire noted that the variability among the 298 organizations in the original study extended to their relationship with Indigenous peoples and culture. Some are informed by and work closely with Indigenous communities, and they operate respectfully with thoughtful practices, and others do not, she said. We need to think carefully about whether these retreats are informed not only by the evidence-based, but by hundreds, if not thousands of years of wisdom that has been passed down among Indigenous people. Rosell warned of the risks of misappropriating Indigenous practice. There's a quote here from them that says, Indigenous practitioners have protocols and processes for the use of plant medicine, she said. When you just take bits and pieces of that, it can create vulnerability and risk for both the participants and the practitioner whose skills are not fully utilized.
Here it is. Counseling patients. Psychiatrists should be aware of APA's position statement regarding the use of psychedelics, which there is a linky clinky, which states that there is a currently inadequate scientific evidence for using mushrooms to treat any psychiatric disorder and psychedelics outside of approved investigational studies. Instead, psychiatrists should encourage patients who are interested in psychedelics to consider approved and legal experiences such as ketamine-assisted psychotherapy. And there are states in the US now. So another option is to look into clinical trials and research studies that will provide a controlled experience. Patients who want to attend the psychedelic retreat should know the risks, Russell added. Given what the JAMA Network Open Study says, the retreats probably won't have a psychiatrist or doctor overseeing the process, and there may not be enough safety protocols. But that's the thing. When you're getting a business and you're getting people that really care about it, you're getting the people with the money that can afford the extras, and you're getting people that understand that they need the extras. So I mean, it's I'm not making excuses or anything, but you're going to get like different business formats throughout, because one, they either can't afford all of it, or two, they are doing bare minimum because they just want your money.
Yeah. And just like with any type of business, you're going to have bad apples. no matter what industry there is. So, but I do agree, there should be some sort of safety protocols in place, though, some basic safety protocols, because especially when you're getting into the psychiatric medicines, right? Because the psychedelics and that can help get off of some of these medications or help complement. But if you're playing around with dosage amounts without actual guidance, you could run into some issues.
Right.
But
right.
I don't know. I don't know if there's one size fits all answer for it, though. So
hey, that brings us to our next article, though. So I mean that and that is off of the Marijuana Moment, which is bipartisan Senate bill would create psychedelic focused VA research centers to explore innovative treatments for veterans. And this is written by Kyle Yeager.
All right, and this one here goes on to say bipartisan. Yeah, sure. Bipartisan senators have introduced a bill to provide $30 million in funding annually to establish psychedelic-focused centers for excellence at U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs VA facilities, where veterans could receive novel treatment, involving substances like psilocybin, MDMA, and ibogaine. As Trump administration officials continue to promote the therapeutic potential of psychedelics, with plans in the works to expand access and research opportunities, Senators Ruben Gallego, Democrat from Arizona, and David McCormick, Republican from Pennsylvania, filed the Innovative Therapy Centers of Excellence Act this week to help realize that goal. A House companion version of the bill, sponsored by Congressional Psychedelics Advancing Therapies, or PATH, caucus co-chairs, Representatives Lou Correa, Democrat out of California, and Jack Berman, Republican from Michigan, was introduced last year, but it has not yet advanced in the chamber. The House and Senate measures are substantively identical, with minor formatting differences. There's a quote here that says, "When I came back from Iraq, I saw my fellow Marines, like so many other veterans, struggle to get the help they needed," Gallego said in a press release. "Our veterans sacrificed so much for this country. We owe it to them to explore every treatment that can help them heal. Including therapeutic use of psychedelics that may finally break through when others haven't. I'm proud to lead this bill to help the VA study promising alternative therapies that can save lives." Very on.
Yeah, it is. I got this back in my book. The legislation, SB 4031, would require VA to designate at least 5 of its medical facilities as centers for excellence that would be charged with research in the therapeutic potential of psychedelics for conditions such as anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and substance misuse. I here now put into my application, I have a little bit of experience in some of this sound in the health and human fields, and this I think us puppets would be good workers doing this. Okay. It also lists several psychedelics that lawmakers want to see explored: MDMA, DMT, ibogaine, ketamine, and psilocybin. The only one I like, ketamine. I have no use for it. The VA undersecretary could expand that list, and they could use all medical conditions that could be studied. And they're studying. Remind you, they're studying. They're not just treating, but they're grabbing people with the patients and studying the effects. So, I mean, I like this so far. Our veterans face disappropriately high rates of PTSD, depression, and substance use disorders due to combat exposure, trauma, and challenges that follow them home, McCormick said. Every day, 17 of them die by suicide. That must change. The Innovative Therapy Centers of Excellence Act will ensure the VA keeps pace with the secret sector by expanding access to cutting-edge treatments like MDMA-assisted therapy, promoting ongoing research on veteran health and outcomes, and closing gaps in treatment services for our veterans who need it most. We owe them nothing less than our very best. There are a number of factors that VA would need to take into account as selected the facilities that would host the centers of excellence, including regional distribution, partnerships with accredited medical schools, ability to recruit scientists capable of ingenuity and creativity in medical research efforts, data collection capabilities, and more. The legislation would provide $30 million in appropriations from VA annually to carry out the research. Only 30? Wow.
Well,
You want to
VA
continue?
would need to submit. Yeah, sure. VA would need to submit a report with findings and recommendations to veterans-focused congressional committees within 2 years of enactment and each subsequent year. Among other things, the report would need to detail activities being carried out at the centers, key findings from the research projects, and recommendations on ways to improve the delivery of innovative therapies to veterans. Melissa Lavasani, founder and CEO of the Psychedelic Medicine Coalition, PMC, said on Thursday that the bill represents more than a research initiative because it's a step toward building the clinical and policy infrastructure needed to responsibly integrate innovative therapies into modern healthcare. The VA can serve as a national proving ground, helping generate the evidence and care models that could ultimately benefit patients across the entire healthcare system, she said. Amy Rising, a veteran and psychedelics reform advocate, said the veterans community should never feel like the country they served has run out of options for their healing. We owe it to them to pursue every responsible, evidence-based pathway that could improve treatment for PTSD, depression, and other serious health conditions, she said. While it's uncertain if or when the House or new Senate bills might advance, their introduction this session represents a continuation of a unique theme in Congress over recent years, with bipartisan lawmakers increasingly finding common ground on psychedelics research and therapy. Those lawmakers notably have allies in top positions within the Trump administration, including VA Secretary Doug Collins and U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS Senator Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who have both embraced psychedelic policy reform. Kennedy recently told Joe Rogan on a podcast episode that the administration is very anxious to create a pathway for the novel therapies. There's a clickable link there for that, more information on that. And the officials that officials across federal agencies want to get it out to the public as quickly as possible. Multiple veterans groups also recently advised congressional lawmakers about the need to continue exploring psychedelics and marijuana as alternative treatment options for the military veteran population at hearings on Capitol Hill. The Wounded Warrior Project, WWP, and Veterans of Foreign Wars, VFW, specifically cited the Innovative Therapy Centers of Excellence Act as an example of a reform they're backing. Correa and Bergman, the House sponsors of that legislation, separately filed a bill in January that would also promote research into the therapeutic potential of certain psychedelics in the treatment of serious mental health conditions experienced by veterans.
The bipartisan duo in January also discussed the importance of strategically advancing psychedelics reform in a way that mitigates bureaucratic conflict and the influence of outside interests. Even just one misstep would threaten upend the movement, they said. So last year, the VA secretary touted his pull his role in promoting psychedelics access for veterans with serious mental health conditions, saying he opened that door probably wider than most ever thought was possible. The department in 2024 faced criticism as of rejecting a grant application from an organization that helps connect veterans to programs abroad where they can receive psychedelic therapy to treat serious mental health conditions. Meanwhile, in November, Kennedy Vice President J.D. Vance, the FDA Commissioner, and other administration officials attend to make America Healthy Again submit that featured a session dedicated to exploring psychedelic medicine. In June, Kennedy said his agency is absolutely committed to expanding research for benefits of psychedelic therapy, and alongside of the head of FDA is aiming to provide a legal access to such substances for military veterans within 12 months. The secretary also said in April that he had a wonderful experience with LSD at 15 years old, which he took because he thought he'd be able to see dinosaurs as portrayed in a comic book he was a fan of. So last October, Kennedy specifically criticized FDA under the prior administration over the agency's suppression of psychedelics and a laundry list of other issues that he amounted to a war on public health that would end under the Trump administration. Wow. So a war on health it is, and it is about the mental health and where you feel that you would be able to go to. I mean, it's we're talking, your mental health, and not everybody wants to take a pill. They want to take naturals. I mean, not everybody wants to go around fucked up. Nobody really wants to take anything.
Exactly. But if for those who want to take something that they feel is a safer route for them, or just a better option altogether, then I think they should be afforded that opportunity. And the states seems to be moving far more further ahead within both research and also implementation of integrating the psychedelics into modern healthcare much more than Canada is. Even though we have things working on in here, the states just seems to be much further ahead in that respect.
Okay.
So I don't know. That's just what I notice. So
I'm looking at the next one. I think we'll go to break right now. So let me pull that. So it's medication time.
It is. And it's time to pay some bills, folks. So stay tuned for everyone for a word from some of our sponsors. Don't forget to check them out. And we'll return with more articles that Bufo was chosen, making mainstream media news.
Back in 4 minutes and 20 seconds here on NOK Network. On Psychedelic Reporters here on NOK Network. Yeah, you get it.
Dirty Dave, award-winning cultivator for over 4 decades. Dirty Dave, prized genetics fueled by advanced nutrients, original OG organics. Dirty Dave, award-winning products available at these fine establishments. Ask your shop to carry Dirty Dave. Contact us at dirtiesdoggies@gmail.com.
Join us for NOK Network monthly specials, 12 months a year, movie nights, spotlights on entertainment, and live on location coverage. Stay up to date about upcoming programming by subscribing to NOK Network on Rumble, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, Twitch, and Facebook. Check out our webpage at www.noknetwork.com.
Hey, hi, my name is John Mark, aka Sublimator Warrior, and I would like to welcome you to Smoke Signal in Tyendinaga.
One dab make your whole dome drip sweat. One dab make the homies all dip set.
Smoke Signals, Tyendinaga.
Smoke Signals, Tyendinaga.
Smoke Signals, Tyendinaga.
Ooey, ooey, gooey, that's a sticky dab. Sticky dab. Might just have to put this one on Instagram.
Smoke Signals,
Go ahead,
Tyendinaga.
hold it in, feel it in your wrist.
Smoke Signals, Tyendinaga.
Check us out in Tyendinaga. 55 Highway 49 in Tyendinaga. It's on the res, and we're open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week.
Now we get back to the show.
And we're back from our medication session live here on Psychedelic Reporters on NOK Network.
And we have another Sam Stories coming at you from the realm of psychedelic medicine. So let's get at it. Wait, it's not a musical? Fucking Todd. Todd told me we're doing a musical today.
You can continue on if you want. I was enjoying it.
Okay, so the next article comes out of NPR, KRVS Radio Arcade. Oh, that's kind of cool. Anyways, a dose of psilocybin helps smokers quit in new study. And it is written by Will Stone, heard on All Things Considered show, March 10th.
Great. All right. So the long-running campaign against smoking could find reinforcements from the new wave of research into psychedelics. Though much of the attention around psychedelics has focused on depression and other mental health conditions, researchers believe these substances also hold the potential to transform addiction treatment. A new study, there's a clickable link there, makes the strongest case yet for a psychedelic drug's impact on smoking, which remains the leading cause of preventable death in the U.S. The trial, conducted by a team at Johns Hopkins University, compared nicotine patches to the magic mushrooms known as psilocybin. At the end of 6 months, those who had taken just one dose of psilocybin had more than 6 times greater odds of being abstinent from cigarettes than their counterparts who relied on the nicotine substitute. Wow, just after one dose, 6 times greater. That's impressive. Everyone in the study also underwent cognitive behavioral therapy for smoking cessation over the course of 13 weeks. I was surprised by the sheer magnitude of the effect, says Matthew Johnson, the study's author and a professor of psychiatry at Johns Hopkins. The findings, published in the medical journal JAMA Network Open on Tuesday, came from a sample of 82 current smokers who were randomly separated into two groups. Similar to other psychedelic trials, the participants had support from facilitators to make sure they were comfortable and prepared for their trip. They ingested a relatively high dose of pure psilocybin. While under the influence, they lay in a room wearing eye shades and listening to soft music, but the overall experience was self-directed, said Johnson. Because there was no placebo, everyone who took psilocybin knew they were getting the drug.
Yeah, so while the school results, Johnson says ensuring that participants are properly blinded has been ongoing challenge in the study of psychedelics given mind-altering effects, which is why I opted for a different study design. In total, 17 participants who took psilocybin had stayed off cigarettes at the half-year mark. Only 4 in the nicotine group had achieved that. The findings will need to be replicated in a larger study and ideally in a more diverse population, but they raise an exciting prospect, says Megan Piper, who directs the UW Center for Tobacco Research and Intervention and was not involved in the current research. It's been 20 years since we've had a new medication to help quit smoking, she says, and we need something novel, and this is definitely a novel approach. Currently, there are 7 medications on the market for smoking cessation. Most of them are nicotine placement products such as gum, lozenges, and patches, and other 2 medications, Varenicline and bupropion. Third received drug approved later this year. Chance of successfully quitting cigarettes without any support is dismal. If you take medication and have counseling, Piper says the long-term. Oh wait, where'd it go? So bitch. My computer can go ahead for a second. Can you take
I'll
over?
continue. Yep. Piper says the long-term success rate hovers between 20 to 30% per attempt. That still means 70% of people are returning to smoking. So how do we help those folks? She says there are relatively few well-controlled studies on psychedelics and addiction. Psilocybin for alcohol dependence has shown promise, the clickable link there, and trials are ongoing. Interest in ibogaine, particularly for opioid use disorder, has gained traction, another clickable link, in recent years. However, investment in psychedelic research has largely centered on proving its effectiveness for mental health conditions such as depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder, says addiction psychiatrist Dr. Brian Barnett, who's at the Cleveland Clinic Lerner College of Medicine and wasn't part of the study. This isn't cutting-edge work, he says. Smoking is still a massive public health problem, and unlike the current mainstays of smoking cessation, psilocybin doesn't target nicotine receptors, meaning it's a very different treatment approach from just trying to replace or sort of mimic the drug that's being used, says Barnett. He suspects the intensive therapeutic support was also crucial to the trial's success. It's not the drug by itself here, he says. It's really harnessing the neuroplastic and learning effects that happen after the drug exposure. This new study builds on promising data from a smaller trial, clickable link there as well, also done by Johnson more than 10 years ago. These earlier findings, paired with these more recent results, led the National Institutes of Health to award him funding for a larger ongoing trial that includes a placebo arm. Are you back online there with the computer?
Yeah, so brain imaging results from the latest study, which are still being analyzed, may offer further clues as to why the treatment worked. We already know that when people are on a compound like psilocybin, the brain is communicating with itself in very different ways, he says. What's evidence from conversations with past study participants is that psilocybin can occasion a shift in perspective and a new sense of agency. Rather than falling into the same stories, these same patterns, it seems that things are shaken up and they can step outside of that and try something different, he says. Well, that's really cool.
Right, very interesting. That was a pretty good story there. Thank you, Bufo, for sending that to us.
I appreciate it.
Great.
So where are we at now? Is this the new bill one?
Yes, new bill.
Okay. All right. So our next article comes out of KARE11.com. And the article is New Bill would legalize magic mushrooms for therapeutic use in Minnesota. And if passed, the bill would create a pilot program for up to 1,000 patients with qualified medical condition like depression. Oh, crap. Can you continue? My thing just fucked up again.
Like depression, to use psilocybin mushrooms. And this is written by Lou Ragus, published on March 9th, 2026, and coming out of St. Paul, Minnesota. After 5 combat deployments, Stefan Egan says he was suffering from physical and mental trauma that led him down the path of addiction and attempted suicide. And he says psilocybin is what saved him from that path. There's a quote here from him. Without that access, I wouldn't be here. Those brain lesions healed, brain cells reconnected, and I could function. Access to this molecule saved my life. Psilocybin is a psychedelic compound found in a species of mushrooms. It's currently illegal as a psychedelic drug. But Minnesota state representatives from both parties believe it can help a lot of people. There's a quote here saying, people saying like they have a new lease on life. They thought they wouldn't make it, and now they are because of these drugs, said DFL representative Andy Smith of Rochester. If this was a terrible idea, you would have seen a lot of medical professionals here to oppose it, said GOP Representative Nolan West of Blaine. The bill proposes a pilot program where people 21 or older with a qualified medical condition like PTSD, depression, or addiction can apply to participate. The program will be capped at 1,000 patients in the first 3 years, monitored by 50 facilitators who will be licensed with the state. And patients must consume the mushrooms at the licensed facility, and the legislature will reevaluate the program after 3 years. And there's a quote here saying, this therapy, I want to be very clear, is not for casual or recreational use. It involves careful screening, preparation sessions, a supervised therapeutic experience, as well as integration afterwards, said Dr. Minji Kim, a Minneapolis psychiatrist. And medical professionals testified that psilocybin would be a meaningful option for meaningful new option for patients who have exhausted existing options. Since the bill would legalize a drug, there are several legislative committees it must go through before becoming law. Oh, that was the end of the story. That was a short one.
It was. Hey, that's all right, man. It's I got another news one, and I like that. The new bill for Minnesota, good for that.
Right.
So
very
now,
good.
Now we hear. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
No, I was just saying, very good for that. I was agreeing with you on that. Good on Minnesota.
Yeah.
Right?
And so now we jump just down the road to Denver. And Denver7.com an in-depth look at the bipartisan push for an ibogaine research pilot program in Colorado. Denver 7 360. House Bill 1325 aims to establish an ibogaine research pilot program that examines the safety and effectiveness of using the natural medicine to create mental health and substance use disorders. And this is by Colette Bordelon.
Great. And the story goes on here to say Colorado lawmakers are considering a proposal to research a powerful psychedelic plant medicine with the ability to reset the brain and combat addiction or mental health issues. Ibogaine, a compound found within a shrub that grows in Africa, has changed the lives of veterans and people living with substance use disorders, but comes with cardiac risks. In this 360 report, Denver 7 examines a number of perspectives on the natural medicine under the spotlight this year at the Colorado Capitol, which is already decriminalized in our state. The background, Kevin Franciotti is a licensed addiction counselor in Littleton who believes more research into how psychedelics can help with mental health or substance use disorders is long overdue. There's a quote from him saying, at this point, there have been no innovative treatments in addiction care for decades. And so my limitations for talk therapy for what I do requires people to be relatively stable, Franciotti said. A lot of people don't even really know that Colorado is a place where we have these tools. And hopefully ibogaine will be a part of that in a legal and safe way. Franciotti explained that ibogaine is a naturally occurring chemical compound derived from the root bark of the Tabernath iboga shrub found in Africa. He showed Denver 7 some ground up iboga root bark, which looked like dust and wood chips. There's a picture of it there in a wooden bowl. Iboga contains a number of alkaloids, including ibogaine. When ibogaine is extracted from it, isolated and purified, it is really is just the molecule that is being used for the treatment at the clinics, Franciotti said. It is very difficult to synthesize pure ibogaine just from raw ingredients. There are a couple of pharmaceutical companies that have figured out how to do that. That is not something that's easy to do outside of a very well-funded lab. And according to Franciotti, ibogaine can produce very vivid visions that last for several hours. But he added that everyone has a different experience.
Can you do another?
Are you good to go there?
Another paragraph? Yeah, can you do another paragraph? Oh wait, I found it. I found where we're
one
at.
Of those.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, I found where we're at. One of the things that makes ibogaine is difficult to utilize in research is because in our pharmaceutically driven era for medicine, we like to see a specific compound that goes to a specific part of a brain and address a specific symptom, Franciotti said. Ibogaine goes everywhere. Nearly every receptor network that we know of. A chemist would generally not even to refer ibogaine as what they would call a classic hallucinogen. Ibogaine instead gets referred to as an orphrenic, which means induces a waking dream state. It was 2011 when Frank received his first ibogaine in treatment in Mexico due to his severe opiate addiction at the time. I was interested in ibogaine. I was interested in psychedelics as tools for healing, as I was certainly interested in no longer being a heroin addict, Frank said. I had a high level of motivation for change, and ibogaine nearly catalyzed what was really a motivation and a willingness to do things differently, try to grow up, try to figure out, and try to live clean. Frank Ciotti believes ibogaine led him to this current life. Without question, I would not be here where I am now, Frank Ciotti said. 15 years after my first ibogaine experience, life has not been, all rainbows and lollipops ever since then, but I was able to get back to college. I was able to figure it out. I was able to live life a day at a time, clean and sober for a number of years. I was able to repair relationships with my members of my family. I was able to hold down close relationships with friends and intimate relationships with partners. I was able to get married many years later. In 2020, Teen Voters passed Proposition 122, creating the Natural Medicine Health Act, which decriminalized 5 natural substances: psilocybin, psilocin, dimethyltryptamine, ibogaine, mescaline for over the age of 21 peoples. The sale of such substances was not decriminalized. It was the inclusion of ibogaine with the Proposition 122 that convinced Frank Ciotti to support the measure. He urged others to do the same via opinion piece published in the Colorado Sun. Senate Bill 23290 was passed in the following year, implementing the regulatory framework for the Natural Medicine Created Natural Advisory Board. Wow.
Great. There's a quote here. When the state assembly passed an implementation bill after the passage of Proposition 122, they made a couple of changes to the law that were not necessarily part of the initial ballot measure, Franciotti said. Unlike the other natural medicines, which had personal use protections and a protection for gift exchange, ibogaine was removed from that. So the only remaining decriminalization is strictly for personal use, transportation, possession, and things like that. As a kind of concession to the removal of that protection, they adopted a language that suggested ibogaine would receive some kind of special accelerated status of being the next compound that would be considered for the regulatory industry after psilocybin was done. Franciotti believes the regulatory system for natural medicine in Colorado is primed for ibogaine, a concept currently being considered in a new piece of legislation at the Colorado Capitol. The legislation, a bipartisan bill introduced last week in the Colorado Capitol, House Bill 26-1325, aims to establish an ibogaine research pilot program that examines the safety and effectiveness of using the natural medicine to treat mental health and substance use disorders. A committee would select 5 ibogaine pilot sites as part of the program in Colorado. The effort is spearheaded by Minority Leader Jarvis Caldwell, our District 20, who served in the Air Force for 10 years and understands the challenges veterans may face. There's a quote here saying that everybody deals with issues such as PTSD differently. And the important thing is that there's a lot of different approaches to it, whether it's just talking with a counselor and going through therapy, whether it's some kind of pharmaceutical, whether it's marijuana, and ibogaine seems like a very promising new tool in the toolbox to address these issues and help people, Caldwell said. This is also a bipartisan effort, and as of right now, we have all veteran members on it. Caldwell began looking into ibogaine after fellow veterans approached him about starting a pilot program in Colorado, expressing their interest in what the natural medicine could do. There's another quote saying, federally, it's still a Schedule 1 substance, but the federal government offers a waiver program for states if they want to, essentially like a right to try, Caldwell explained. States can pass bills like we're looking to pass with 1325 and say that what. This is decriminalized here in the state. We understand it's still illegally federally. However, you're going to give us the right to try it and kind of, for lack of better terms, experiment in using it for medical reasons. According to the legislation, ibogaine has shown promise in treating several post-traumatic stress disorder and other mental health conditions connected to combat deployments. The research pilot program would explore both the therapeutic effects and potential risks of the natural medicine while laying a foundation for a future regulatory program. There's guardrails here, right? So this isn't just anybody can open up a clinic to use ibogaine, Caldwell said. And Colorado's Behavioral Health Administration, or the BHA, is the organization that would operate the pilot program and could seek federal authorization for expanding or advancing the research efforts around ibogaine. Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
It is. And the applicants that would like to become one of the 5 ibogaine pilot sites must demonstrate an intent to pursue federal approval to safely study the compound and establish a benefit sharing plan for the indigenous cultures that traditionally work with ibogaine or iboga. Poachers have kind of realized that there's a global demand for iboga. So a lot of you see available to purchase in online marketplaces is very, very likely to be improperly sourced and is damaging the local ecosystem, Frank Yadi said. One of the tasks of Colorado is to figure out a sustainable source that doesn't put an already endangered species at further risk of extinction. Facilitators would not be held liable for participants for physical or psychological injuries due to the natural medicine unless it was the direct result of their intentional misconduct, gross negligence, or a departure from the recognized standard of care. Caldwell told Denver 7 that the sponsors have been working to mitigate the cost the proposal would have on the state, a concern shared by all lawmakers with a fiscal note on their bills as a multi-million-dollar budget shortfall looms over Colorado. There's a gifts, grants, and donations portion to it, so if electrical people want to help donate and get this off the ground, it's certainly an option, Caldwell said. Oh, my computer froze. You want to take over?
Sure. The support, one of the authors of Colorado's Natural Medicine Health Act is attorney Joshua Capel. We included ibogaine in the Colorado Natural Medicine Health Act, which was passed by voters in 2022 to create access to psychedelic therapies for mental health purposes, Capel said. But in that program, only psilocybin and psilocin were permitted to start with. And so there's the ability for the state to add in ibogaine into the Natural Medicine Health Act and regulate access to ibogaine. However, there's a lot of different steps needed before we can get there, and that's why we're here today. Capel believes the research program would enable Colorado to implement safety standards around ibogaine that protect patients. He supports HB 26-1325, saying the power of the compound could change lives in Colorado. It can just reset the brain, with one treatment, Capel said, really giving people a fighting chance to free themselves from addiction. There are risks associated with ibogaine, including cardiac arrest. Doing more research and providing access in that research framework is really important, Capel said. With the proper medical supervision and the proper monitoring and the proper screening, that risk can drastically be eliminated. The research program would ensure safety comes first, Capel believes, while beginning to move to a broader program to treat those who could benefit from the medicine in Colorado. The word of caution. Inside a cozy office in Fort Collins, therapist Bree Bendixson primarily works with clients who have experienced trauma or live or live with PTSD. She has also worked within the psychedelic medicine space for the last few years. I'm here to offer some wisdom and some guidance and some reflection and potentially some challenges as appropriate, Bendixson said about her work. But ultimately, it's offering somebody a space to really grow and thrive in their own way, in their own process. Bendixson has developed a number of healthy habits over the years that enable her to continue her work without losing herself. It really has taken years of skill building to be able to say, like, oh, I'm feeling this, but it actually isn't mine. I can hold it, and I can also leave it in this room, Bendixson explained. Still, there was a time when she found herself dependent on a substance instead of her self-care practices. Are you good to go there, or do you need me to continue?
I'd go home and I'd start having a drink, 2 drinks, 3 drinks over time. Oh, it's just a glass of wine. It's just an old fashioned, right? Well, that's really became my pattern. It became any substance, and in my case, it was alcohol, and so widely available and so normalized in our culture. Bendixson decided it was time for a change and believed Iboga would help her achieve that. I really wanted to seek out more of a ceremonial context rather than more of a medicalized context, describing why she was drawn to Iboga over Ibogaine. I don't necessarily think one is better or other than the other. It's just worse, or just for me personally, I really wanted to incorporate more of the spiritual component, more of the ceremonial component. First Iboga journey for Bendixson was in 2023 in particular, which she said was incredibly insightful. It was healing in a way that I was not anticipating, Bendixson said. Iboga offers 3 snapshots, offered me the snapshots of my life, and explained how's this happened here, how it contributes to your pattern and your functioning now. And here's your showing up. Do you want to keep doing that or not? She described the power washing of her brain, and since then she has not drank alcohol. Honestly, it's the best choice that I have made for myself was to give up alcohol, Bendixson said. Roughly a year after her Iboga treatment retreat, Bendixson attended another one in a different facility. She was searching for an even deeper level of self-growth. Her experiences were dramatically different this time. Unfortunately, someone passed away at the retreat and that I was at, Bendixson said slowly. I did not witness the trajectory of how this person unfortunately passed away, so I can't speak to the details. But it will say is that I did not actually connect with the women who passed away. I did actually connect. And I connected with her at the airport. We shared breakfast together at the hospital before we went to the retreat. According to Bendixson, the retreat offered other substances in addition to the Iboga. They were offering something called total alkaloid extract, in which my research at the total alkaloid extract can potentially contain up to 70% ibogaine, Bendixson said. Ibogaine carries a significantly higher level of cardiac risk than Iboga. Total alkaloid extract, we don't really know what is in it. Could any range of Iboga percentage. And that's why I speak to some places are offering Iboga retreats, but yet supplementing or adding in the total alkaloid extract, which significantly increases the level of cardiac risk. people look to receive this medicine, not know that. Like this medicine might not know that. Her concern is ensuring a retreat facilitators are mindful of the people they are treating, and when she believes more research ought to be done, the powerful psychoactive compound to understand how people to people alive ultimately and safe, Ben Dixon said. In addition, Ben Dixon has questioning about the funding needed for pilot program and worries about the spiritual or ceremonial component of the experience could be lost in the process. I feel a bit conflicted, Ben Dixon said at HB 261325. I hope that we all get the research off the ground. I hope that there are pathways towards a regulated model with ibogaine, and I certainly hope that research is done with fidelity and ultimately keeps the healing of community at the forefront of our minds. There's always the concern about the profit companies coming in and trying to make money. So I am in the support of the bill. I hope so. A spokesperson with the governor, Jared Polis' office, provided Denver 7 with a statement about HB 261325, which described Colorado as ahead of the curve excitement about the promising possibilities ibogaine presents. He continued to say Polis will continue to have conversations with the bill sponsors about the proposal. Denver 7 will continue to track the progress of legislation seeking an ibogaine research pilot program. Huh.
Right. And there is a full statement from Polis office down below here. So if people want to read that, they can. Unless you want me to read it quickly, but I know time's moving on.
Yeah, no, you can read it if you want.
All right.
This turned into the last article, so.
Okay. So Colorado voters passed the natural medicine. So this is again the full statement from Polis office right here. Colorado's voters passed natural medicine, and the governor takes implementing the will of Colorado voters very seriously. And we've done a lot of work since the measure passed. Ibogaine shows clinical promise in helping veterans and others overcome substance abuse, trauma, and more. As a national leader in breaking through outdated laws around cannabis and now psilocybin, Colorado is ahead of the curve and excited about the promising possibilities ibogaine presents. Governor Polis was proud to sign laws to create a statutory framework that implements the will of voters while creating the best possible system for Colorado to protect people's safety, provide access to promising treatments for serious conditions, and support building on meaningful, scientifically sound research into these treatments. He appreciates the work of these bill sponsors and looks forward to continued conversations. And that was spokesperson from the governor, Jared Polis' office. So yeah, very cool. What's happening in Colorado with regards to ibogaine?
Yeah, this is it's interesting. It's pretty cool, man. I like this, and that brings us to the end of the show, man. That's thank you for joining us here on Psychedelic Reporters on NOK Network, and for tuning in to our video podcast on NOK Network's Rumble and YouTube pages, as well as our social media sites.
That's right, folks. And we hope you all enjoyed your update on mainstream media coverage of psychedelic medicine advancements from around the globe.
Many thanks to our sponsors and to my joint host, Tara Simpson, and to Buffalo Various for choosing the stories. What?
I'm not. You said Tara Simpson.
Oh my bad. Oh, and to Ron McDowell. Oh shit, my bad. And my many thanks to our sponsors and to my sub-joint host, Ron McNabb, and to Buffalo Various for choosing the stories, and to you, our listeners, for joining each week on Psychedelic Tuesday. Let's hear from Dead Ringer again from Kirkland Lake on our way out. Woo!
Whoop, whoop. Good night. Peace.
I'm looking at myself, reflections of my mind. It's just the kind of day to leave myself behind. So gently swaying through the fairyland of love. If you'll just come with me, you'll see the beauty of